Hello students, welcome to a new topic of class 12 Pole Science Arts, and today we will read about the topic named disintegration of the Soviet Union. As it is a very big topic, and in order to understand the disintegration of Soviet Union, we will first start with the Soviet system. Then we will study Gorbachev and disintegration. That will be the second topic related to understand the disintegration and Soviet Union, and more topics are related to that. In order to understand the disintegration of Soviet Union, we need to start from the Soviet system. We need to know what actually the Soviet system was actually. So starting today's topic, we'll start from this. What was the Soviet system? So the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, that means the USSR, which we also call the Soviet Union. So the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR, came into being after the Socialist Revolution in Russia in the year 1917. So when was the USSR came into being? It came into being in 1917. And the reason was, after the socialist revolution only this USSR came into existence. The revolution was inspired by the ideals of socialism as opposed to capitalism and the need for an egalitarian society. So why this USSR came into being actually? Some idealism they must follow, as the US of the Western Alliance were following the idealism of what? Capitalism. But the USSR was following the idealism of socialism. Clear? This was perhaps the biggest attempt in human history to abolish the institution of private property and consciously design a society based on principles of equality. So why they were supporting this socialism? They were supporting socialism in order to what? In order to abolish institution of private property. That means what? You and me, if we are from USSR of that time, we cannot have property of our own. All the property will be controlled by whom? The state or the government. So the ideals of socialism follows this. That means what? They were trying to abolish the institution of private property and consciously design a society based on principles of equality. And along with that, abolishing this private property system, they were also believing in the principles of equality. That means all will be equal. In doing so, the makers of Soviet system gave primacy to the state and the institution of the party. So in order to do these two things, that means to abolish private property and design a society of equality based on equality, the makers of the Soviet system gave primacy, that means importance to whom? To the state and the institution of the party. The Soviet political system centered around the Communist Party, and no other political party or opposition was allowed. The economy was planned and controlled by the state. But here, in order to do these two things, they gave the whole of power to whom? The one and only single party that was in USSR, and that party was the Communist Party. So if you give the whole power to a particular party, because then what will happen? The economy was planned and controlled by the state. They will take control of everything, including the economy also. So after the Second World War, the East European countries that the Soviet army had liberated from the fascist forces came under the control of USSR. Clear? Now we can relate this line to that of what? Emergence of two power blocks. Why the East European countries came under the Soviet Union and came to be known as Eastern Alliance? Because after the Second World War that ended what? On 1945, in the year 1945, the East European countries that the Soviet army had liberated, means all of the East European countries who helped to gain them liberation or independence, the Soviet army had helped them to be freed or liberated from the fascist forces. So for that reason, they were under whom? They were under the control of USSR. So in that case, the USSR was heading or was having an alliance of the whole of the Eastern European countries, because at once they helped the East European countries. The political and the economic systems of all of these countries were modeled after the USSR, and whatever the political and economic systems the USSR were following, the same system of political and economic systems were followed in the East European countries, all of the East European countries, because they were under what? The control of USSR. This group of countries was called the Second World or the Socialist Bloc. Clear? And this group of countries was called the Second World. That means First World was related to USA and Second World was related to USSR or the Socialist Bloc. So the First World was related to USA and they were known as what? Capitalist Bloc. But this group of countries was called the Second World and they were called as Socialist Bloc, because they were following what? The policy of ideals of socialism. For that reason they were called Socialist Bloc. That means USSR along with East European countries. The Warsaw Pact, a military alliance, held them together. And as we know that after NATO, an organization of the Western alliances, the USSR or the Soviet Union also introduced one pact which was passed in 1955. It was a military alliances and their objective was to what? To stop the NATO forces. So this Warsaw Pact brought them together. That means the USSR and the East European countries. And the USSR was the leader of the bloc. And who was the leader? Obviously the USSR was the leader. After that, the Soviet Union became a great power after the Second World War. The Soviet economy was then more developed than the rest of the world except for the US. That means what? After coming into contact with all of the East European countries, the Soviet Union or the USSR became very powerful in terms of economy also, in terms of military also. Clear? In the whole world. But regarding US, they were not more powerful than the US. You can assume that they were equivalent to the US. It had complex communications network, vast energy resources including oil, iron and steel, and machinery production, and a transport sector that connected its remotest areas with efficiency. That means how it was so strong economically. In terms of what? It had a complex communication network. That means communication wise it was too advanced. Then secondly, it had vast energy resources. Energy resources includes what? It includes oil. It had the USSR had abundance of oil, then iron and steel, and machinery production also they had in abundance, and a transport sector that connected its remotest area with efficiency. That means what? That their transportation sector or transport system was so good that it can have easily connect to the remotest area. That means the interior areas also they connected with efficiency. This was the advantage of USSR being so economically developed. It had a domestic consumer industry that produced everything from pins to cars, and apart from that they had a manufacturing unit in their own country. That means what? They don't have to export. They don't have to export anything from the other parts of the country or the other parts of the world. Because what was the reason? They produced everything from pins to cars. That means what? From a small thing like pins, they started manufacturing from small things like pins to a big things like cars. Everything they manufactured and they produced in their own country. Though their quality did not match that of the Western capitalist countries, but here one disadvantage was there. As they were not importing anything, they were not making the countries of the other parts of the world, they were not buying anything from the other parts of the world, as they were producing everything from pins to cars, but the quality or the build quality was not that much of developed, or you can say that it was not to that much of, they did not maintain that quality as when compared to the Western capitalist countries like the US. Clear? the Soviet state ensured a minimum standard of living for all citizens. And their features, the characteristics was what? They were ensuring a minimum standard of living for all citizens. Why you know? Because in that country, if they follow the system of socialism, that means what? Private ownership will not be there. And according to that, they will ensure what? They will set, there will be no rich and no poor. For everyone, they will set a standard of living. So they were doing that. Minimum standard of living they were setting for all the citizens. And the government subsidized the basic necessities including health, education, child care and other welfare schemes. And after that, the first thing they did was to ensure a minimum standard of living. That means they will allow you with a standard of living that will be sufficient for all the citizens, and along with that the government subsidized what? Basic necessities including, and along with the standard of living they had given the facility of subsidy over what? Health facilities, education facilities, then child care and other whatever the other welfare schemes are there, they were subsidizing on that. There was no unemployment, and there was one good thing was that there was no unemployment. Every member of the family or every family was actually employed and were having whatever the essential things are needed for a person to live, they were giving it, like the standard of living. Then they were having health policy, they were having a good educational policy, then child care facility was good and other welfare schemes are also good. So regarding that, there was no unemployment. State ownership was the dominant form of ownership. That means what? State was the only sole ownership, that means owner. The private ownership was not there. So the state was deciding over the ownership of everything, be it land or productive assets were owned and controlled by the Soviet states. Everything. That means if you buy a car also, that will be in the name of that country, that will be not in the name of yours. As we in India, if we are buying anything, suppose say a car, we have that registration in our own name, but in that time in the USSR, if a person has to buy a car, that he cannot buy a car because the registration will not be in his or her name. So this was the system, as land and productive assets were owned and controlled by the Soviet state. Nothing can be owned by you. That means private ownership will be totally banned. Clear? After this, the Soviet system, however, became very bureaucratic and authoritarian, making life very difficult for its citizens. So, as the system was very strange kind of system, that only ownership that will be allowed will be the state ownership. No one will be allowed with the private ownership. So, this was making what? The life of the citizens very difficult. Just think that if we were there at that time, so how our life would be like. We cannot buy even a single thing under our ownership. If we tell about ownership, we cannot own anything. Every ownership will be in the hands of state. So this was the situation of the people living over there at that time. So in this way, it can be said that the Soviet system or the government was becoming what? Bureaucratic and authoritarian. That means dictator, like one kind of dictator they were having, because they were having control of everything, of the life of the people also, and everything by themselves only. That means what? They were not giving any rights to the common people. After that, lack of democracy and the absence of freedom of speech stifled people who often expressed their dissent in jokes and cartoons. After that, what happened? The Soviet system, after they became dictator, apart from that, there was lack of democracy. That means democratic system was not there. That means for the people, by the people and of the people system was not there. and along with that absence of freedom of speech also was not there. Clear? And these two things, the absence of these two things did what? This absence of two things made people harassed, and they were feeling helpless because they cannot say anything about the government also, and the system that are followed in the USSR was not related to the democracy. That means for the people, by the people, and of the people was also not followed, and along with that freedom of speech was also not there. So in this situation, what the people did? The people expressed their dissent in jokes and cartoons. So how to show their actually dissatisfaction over the government's policy? They were showing it through some jokes and cartoons. Clear? Through any medium. So this was the level of dissatisfaction over the people living in the USSR. Most of the institutions of the Soviet state needed reform. The one-party system represented by the Communist Party of the Soviet Union had tight control over all institutions and was unaccountable to the people. So whatever the system of the Soviet Union or the USSR, there was only one party, that was the Communist Party, and it was having control all over the institution also and on the life of people also. The party refused to recognize the urge of the people in 15 different republics that formed the Soviet Union to manage their own affairs, including their cultural affairs. So as a whole, we can say that the USSR is not a single country. It is a union of 15 countries. So the Communist Party in the USSR was not accountable to the people. That means what they are doing, that is not at all being transparent to the people. The people don't know actually what the government is doing or what they are not. So along with that, as I told you that this was a union of 15 countries, so they were avoiding the people's choice and whatever the people's satisfaction over in this 15 countries that made the USSR. Although on paper Russia was only one of the 15 republics that together constituted the USSR. Clear? In the paper means, as we are reading in this book, that means what? As we are reading in this book, we know that Russia with other, or we can say that other 15 countries made together what? The USSR. In the book we are reading, but in real, what was the situation? In reality, Russia dominated everything and people from other regions felt neglected and often suppressed. That means, if you assume that USSR was a combination of 15 countries, and that 15 countries includes what? Russia and other 14 countries. In the paper, in the book, we are reading this for our information, but in reality, it was different. In reality, what was the thing actually? Russia was the only country out of 15 that dominated the other 14 and also dominated the people from other 14 countries also. Whatever the demands were there, the people of Russia were also feeling harassed, and the other 14 countries people were also feeling harassed because it dominated everything and it dominated the people from the other 14 countries also. For that reason, the people were feeling what? They were feeling neglected and often suppressed. That means the people were feeling that the Communist Party of Russia is totally ignoring them and not listening to them at all or under any issue. If the people want to share any issue, they are not listening at all. So this was the dilemma of the people from Russia also and from the other 14 unions also, which made the USSR. So with this, I will wind up today's topic and hope that whatever the topic we had read today about the Soviet Union, up to here, it's now very much clear to you, and we will continue with the same topic in the next class. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.